going on, everybody? Hope you're okay. Hope everything is working out for you on this week and the past couple of weeks. Let's see who we got in the house. Got D, Mylette, what's going on? Dre, Black Dub, Mylette, thanks for coming out to the meetup. Associate Minister, what's going on? How you doing? Yep, set an alarm. God is love, what's going on? You know, listening to the folks scream and yell about all the things that happen with the homie, with the homie, all the conspiracy theorists. Meanwhile, while everybody's doing the conspiracy theorist thing, money keeps on being a thing. Money keeps on being a thing. Contracts keep on being a thing. It's just what it is. I'm pulling all the stuff up. We're gonna go down contracts today. We're gonna talk. Uh, we'll get into it. Let me pull this up. I'll put that one at the end. Yep, we are live. Pulling some stuff up. I'm just gonna go down the thing. I see the comments out there. Some of the folks that come here, I see your comments. About plumbers, skilled workers, so forth and so on. I'm not telling people not to go get into plumbing, so forth and so on. I'm just saying at some point you gotta set the level of expectation on competing skills, is what I'm saying. In other words, those who have gone to school to learn about AI or advanced physics or working in chemistry, biochemistry, um in other words, my point is that you don't you can't outwork reading. You can't outwork education. It's just not gonna happen. Can you make a great living? Sure. But you're not gonna outwork education. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. So you gotta figure out which side of the map you wanna be on. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, it's open for debate though. I'm, you know, I love to have a dynamic conversation. Yep, apply for them roles that need to be filled because that's what people are talking about. I'm just pulling up all of my stuff here. Um, I'm just there's no rhyme or reason or order. I'm just gonna click on the tab and we just gonna talk about it because it's so much. I mean, it's got order to it, but again, we just gonna talk about it. You guys can figure out where you need to be and listen to the companies that I say what they're doing, what skill sets you think you need to have, and then go from there. All right. I'm almost done with it. I think I kicked it off with this one. Yep. All right, let's go. This is out of St. Louis, NGA. So neighbors hope the $1.7 billion NGA campus spurs growth as North St. Louis awaits promised investment. So 1.7 billion is going into St. Louis for investing. D, can you show the screen, please? All right. The new $1.7 billion National Geospatial Agency campus is nearly ready to open in North St. Louis, with thousands of federal workers expected to arrive daily starting this fall. Nearby residents are weighing what their project means for the community. So, one of the big things I always talk about is, I don't know, D, I have my screen shared, but I don't know why you're not sharing the screen. Yeah. All right. So here, so people ask about. Well, first you got to ask yourself, what is NGA? All right, that's the first question you ask yourself. NGA, National Intelligence Agency. Now, everybody has heard me talk about satellites, ground stations, so forth and so on. If you ain't, if you new here, take notes. All right, NGA. What does NGA do? What are they about? Here, you can click on the careers. All right, about us, so you know. Actually, NGA is the one that's giving out uh clearances to 16-year-olds. They're hiring 15, 16, 17-year-olds as interns and giving them clearances. And on top of that, those jobs start anywhere from 63,000 to 92,000. So great. Go be a plumber. But I can teach a 16-year-old how to get a clearance and make $60,000 today. So you imagine a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old making anywhere from 60 to $90,000. They go to school, they graduate with their high school diploma, they get a job that's gonna pay for them to get a degree. They'll go off and get a degree, or they maintain the job and get a degree, and probably for free. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, you over there, you're learning the trade. You gotta probably work for somebody first before you become an entrepreneur, because you're not gonna go out and go buy the company. You're not gonna go buy the business. You're gonna work in the business. I'm just telling you what you're gonna do, because you ain't gonna have no money. Meanwhile, this 16-year-old probably gonna out earn you off the jump. I'm not shooting you in the foot. I'm just telling you the facts. It just is what it is. You're like, oh no, Tameika, no, they're not. NGA not doing that. Okay. Students and internships. Um, right here, let's blow this up. We offer both college and high school student internship opportunities. Student internship assignments are entry level professionals, which involve a great deal of independent and team oriented work under the guidance of supervisors and so forth. For a high school student, application period to be determined, but to participate, you must be a U.S. citizen, at least 16 years old, have a GPA of between 3.0 and 4.0, able to obtain a security clearance, pass a drug test, and able to work 40 hours during the summer for 8 consecutive weeks in Springfield, Virginia, or in St. Louis. Apply. College students, not the ones that think about going to college but enroll, right? An ability to tame a TSSCI, right? And this came out at least 2 years ago. I was talking about this. The Geo scholarship on hold. That one's on hold. But they're hiring. They're hiring. Let's get back to it. What is NGA? Deliver world-class geospatial intelligence that provides a decisive advantage to policymakers, military service members, intelligence professionals, and first responders. NGA is a unique combination of a DoD combat support agency and a principal member of the U.S. intelligence community. NGA gives warfighters the IC and the first responders of a worldwide first-hand intelligence baseline for their own analytical and operation needs. This includes everything from contributing to state of readiness of our military forces to ensuring safety of navigation in the air, on land, over under the seas. NGA also helps protect the homeland by providing critical insight for humanitarian efforts, disaster relief, and recovery operations. Anyone who sails a U.S. ship, flies a U.S. aircraft, makes national policy decisions, fights wars, locates targets, responds to natural disaster, or navigates with a cell phone relies on NGA. The agency enables critical actions and so forth and so on. So there you have it. You know what NGA is, right? Back to it. $1.7 billion NGA campus spurs growth as North St. Louis awaits promised investment, right? So what's going to be there? Blow that up. It's a little better. Within a decade, the massive campus will soon host nearly 3,000 federal workers. NGA West Executive Bill, I guess, Caneo, can I know? Cano? So first alert for investigates the facility can be a catalyst for growth. Not sure what's in that area, Heather, but I would assume that somebody is buying up land and buying up real estate. The campus brings a new life to 16 city blocks. You would see this inspiring more growth around. You certainly hope so. Our outlook is it is if it's good for the community, it will be good for us. Somebody said they pass it every day. We buy these buildings and renovate them with our own money, our own investments. Dennis Nana wants to see NJ hire locals for head of household jobs. So let's talk about that. Put in the comment section what type of skill set do you think these locals would need to have in order to, because not only when companies, like, you got to understand, when things like this come into an area or prep to come into the area, they have to come, they get in touch with the local community colleges and the colleges around there, and they start putting in, you'll start seeing investments in there, and they'll start saying, hey, we need people going into this, right? A lot of people skip community college and they try to go into a 4-year college when they got resources, a lot of resources at a community college, right? So now you got to understand, what does that look like? What is it? What skill sets do you need? I'm gonna go ahead and tell you: cloud, Linux, Kubernetes. You're talking about dealing with satellites, edge computing, security. You're gonna need. You're gonna even need people to understand how to even write code to go on as applications on those servers or on those clusters. Well, what does that look like? What applications would they need? Right? I just told you what they do. So what do you think they need? Right? What language should it be written in? How do we protect that? How do we secure that? Like, all those things are needed across the board, right? And the cool part about it is, this is like, seems like a facility that's going to be there for a while, so you can always just work there. Open shift as well, right? So I'm just prepping you now. Now you know a location, you know an agency and a location. What are you gonna do? Sit on the sidelines and not apply? Go apply, right? Next one up, Accenture. I can't read it. I'm gonna try to see if I can find it somewhere else. I can log in. But Accenture is looking to train 700,000 staffers to use uh, uh, agentic AI. So let me see if I can sign in here. Mm-mm-mm. I think it comes from this one, but find out. Nope, it don't come from that one. Okay, here we go. All right, so this came out on the 12th. One more. All right. Accenture PLC is training more than 700,000 staffers in agentic artificial intelligence as consulting giant pushes to serve clients' demand in the area. The company started coaching staff in the basics of the technology this month. Accenture Chief Executive Officer Julie Sweet said in a Bloomberg television interview, every new wave of technology has a time where you have to train and retool. Companies are increasingly using agent AI, agentic agentic AI, which is systems that can autonomously to complete sophisticated tasks. Accenture has been pushing scale up its AI offering more broadly in reaction to the demand. Now, what's going to happen with that is, especially if you know who Accenture is. Let's go here. Who are Accenture's biggest customers? Their major clients are Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Oracle, um, as well as other large companies and Amazon Web Services, right? But who else is there? One of their major, some of their major customers. Here's their fiscal sheet here. Let's roll it out. This is 2025. All right. So essential revenue 64.9 billion fiscal year 2024. Quarterly revenue 17.7 billion Q3 in 2025. They are publicly traded. They have 774,000 employees, 120 countries, with offices and operations in 52 countries and 200 cities. America's EMEA, and Asia Pacific. Here is their leaders, and then their clients. So basically, their services, consulting, technology, right here with their technology, and we also have a lot of R&D. And then, of course, there's someone has to maintain their operations. Um, Industry groups, communication, media and technology, financial services, health and public service, products and resources. Here is their market breakdown of their revenues, and this is something you should be doing in every company that you go in. You should be looking at this. You should be looking at like, man, what's the breakdown of where the company's jobs are at, the breakdown of everything. Peter Investor, thank you for your $5 super chat. I'll get to your question in 1 minute. Let me finish this out. Yep, there we go. Right. But industries, you can look here and then you can hit up their services, right? What they offer, and then the careers, right? You can go corporate jobs, you can do consulting jobs, strategy jobs, technology, federal jobs, digital jobs, operation cloud, Salesforce, AI. They got it all broken down here for you. All right, here's the entry level jobs, right? Training and development, work environment, so forth and so on. Check it out. All right, Peter Investor, you asked what's the difference between learning Java and learning Linux? Well, one is an operating system and the other one is a programming language. You can have the operating system and install Java on top of the operating system and learn to program on that operating system, but using Java. In other words, you can make an application in Java on a Linux box. You can do it on a Windows box. but the programming language is built to go anywhere it wants to go, especially if you're using creating binaries. So a lot of people create what we call executables, binaries of code to run said application. So that's really what the difference is there. Are there things inside of Java that can talk to a Linux box? Absolutely. But you have to program that in order to do it. All right. I hope that made sense for you. Let me check and see if there are any other questions. All right, cool. All right, so we got Accenture. They're getting ready to train 700,000 staffers. You could probably go in and be a trainer. You can also probably go in and be a someone who learns, right? Pick your poison. Let's go. Next one up. Blackstone exec says elite Ivy League degrees aren't good enough. New analysts need to work harder and be nice. In other words, what they're saying is it's not about the degree, it's about your hands-on experience. And this is I think, one of the biggest misconceptions about just getting the degree versus having practical skill sets, right? And I come across this a lot, just in my career, that people have gone to school to get the Ivy League degree, but when it comes down to actually putting stuff in play, they can't do it. They got the theory, but they can't put it in play. All right. In a recent LinkedIn post, Blackstone president COO John Gray told new analysts they should not kiss up to the bosses. Ooh, I know some people that do puckering. They lips are stuck or sharp elbow their peers to advance. Most of you went to elite universities. You did really well. You were the top of your class. You're the people who are successful by nature and hardworking. Great acknowledged in a video post in LinkedIn. But when I look around at the people who truly succeeded at Blackstone, it's not the good enough crowd, right? It's the people who are like, hey, I'm gonna make sure I get this absolutely right. We close that. Go back up. Okay, here we go. Gray said those who rise the furthest in Blackstone have the capacity to work well with others, innovate to make the firm a better place. The mistake people make is they are like, I'm going to really kiss up to the boss and going to sharp elbow with people side by side and the people at the bottom. Gray said he urged analysts instead to be nice to everybody you touch inside the building, outside the building, calling kindness an amazing superpower. To succeed, Gray told employees they should work harder and care more. This is not complicated. He encouraged them to think like entrepreneurs and treat people in a really great way that you would like to be treated. And I think that's true. I think a lot of people get lost in the sauce on how to treat people on their way up. They get lost in the sauce on even how to treat their friends as well too, right? Um, that is this is a normal conversation that people have, right? The importance of skill based hiring. I say it and I say it again. Gray's comment come as young Americans navigate a tough job market. Newly revised data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics released Tuesday showed the U.S. economy created nearly more than 1 million fewer jobs over the past year than previously thought. The weak labor market has some Gen Z questioning whether a college degree is worth it. It's worth it if you get some skill set, but if you just gonna sit there and not get any skill set, not do any internships, not apply for jobs, to get some skill sets in your area. And again, you also have to, and this is I think another conversation for another time, is you got to understand that if you go get a job in a city where there are no jobs, the college is the job, or you can only work at the college, expect for you not to get the skill set that you need, right? Luckily for places like where a lot of the HBCUs are, not all, some, let me say it that way. The ones in Atlanta, they're lucky because they can get a job in a city where the demand for their skill set is. Huntsville is on the way up. But if you went to a school that doesn't have any big name companies or jobs there, you're just getting a degree and not the internship. You're getting a degree and not the skill set. So yes, you have to be careful where you pick and you choose to go to school. Yes, you have to be careful where you pick and choose and what you choose in terms of what type of skill set you get, where you applying to, and your network, right? Your network can't just be the people you went to college with, right? You gotta have to step outside. And so I think we oftentimes get confused that yes, we have to network. Yes, we have to apply. And yes, there needs to be a strategy centered around it, right? So again, what is your strategy, right? Well, how are you gonna level up when you are isolated to a city that doesn't have anything? Like let's just look. I'm gonna just look here. Just curious. What is Jackson, Mississippi biggest employer? Let me see. Let's see what it says. The largest employer in Jackson, Mississippi is the state of Mississippi. They say they have other significant employees in the region: Baptist Memorial Healthcare Medical Center, Entergy, Mississippi, and Amazon. But the largest employer in Jackson, Mississippi, is the state of Mississippi. So now let's look at the average. 47. So you get a degree and you come out and you go work for the state of Mississippi and your average is 47. So I'm just pointing out and showing to you, yes, get the degree. But yes, understand, be strategic. Yes, understand what you need to do. What's the let's look at Jackson State. I want to look up. I just want to look at their programs. So, College of Business, College of Education and Human Development, College of Health Sciences, Liberal Arts, and College of Science and Engineering Technology. Let's go look at that. All right. Let's see. We got biology, civil, computer science, and computer engineering. They got a graduate engineering program. Let's go look at the computer engineering and so forth. So you can go electrical and computer science or college science and engineering technology. Let's go here. Let's go here. 9 times out of 10, you'll probably come under computer engineering. Why can't I find the curriculum? That's from 2021. I guess it was this one. All right. General core, university required, electives, professional certificates. Okay, communications, digital systems, da 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 da. Intro to electrical. Cal 1, Cal 2, Pathway Options, Cal 3, Physics, Cal 4. What is this? They say that's sophomore year, junior year, ordinary differential equations, synthesis with HDL, embedded microprocessor in lab. They wait too long to get to this one. Embedded microprocessor in lab. They wait too long for that. Could start that back way back here. Computer architecture, yes. Data structures and algorithms. Okay, that's fine. Most of the time, that's usually taught in the first and the second year. Um, Chemistry, I guess, and then your senior project and social behavior option, technical electives, so forth and so on. Now I wonder what their electives are. Electives, courses, blah blah blah. There are two types of electives: degree program electives, courses, blah blah blah. Let's see, what are their electives? Let me see. We'll look this up real quick. Computer engineering electives. All right, so I just want to pull up what their electives were. Why did it just disappear from me? All right, technical electives: electromagnetic fields, digital signal processing, digital system testing and design for testability, digital VLSI design, and so forth. The one thing I would tell folks, if they're at Jackson, you got a kid at Jackson, go take this class. Go learn about digital signal processing. You can even do this one here: semiconductors, layouts, and so forth. What will happen taking those classes, transitioning out? I'll show you as you transition out. Importance on skill-based learning. This is where it's at here. We'll show you what happens. We'll come back to that one. You start looking at programs and stuff like this. Space Force building tools to detect cyber attacks on satellites. Your digital signal processing. You're learning about waves and different frequencies and so forth. That's where that comes into play. This is where that comes in out. This is where the computer engineer comes into play. The electrical engineer coming into play. I'm only going to talk about computer engineering, electrical engineering, computer science, maybe, depending on what you want to do with it. Right? U.S. Space Force contractors are building an AI-powered tool to detect cyber attacks on satellites by directly monitoring the behavior and the telemetry outputs of the satellite systems in orbits. Executive said this week the cyber resilience on orbit tool, will be available as a software program, but could be implemented in hardware and installed on satellites. You don't get that from going. You don't get that, right? Maybe you get that as a welder and you build a satellite and so forth and so on. But I'm trying to tell you, the person that's probably going to do this is going to be that computer engineer or that electrical engineer. That's where you're going to get that from. The tool will be available on software program that will be implemented in the hardware and installed on satellites. The technology out at Proof Labs. Go check out Proof Labs in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Should be available next year. He said at a gathering organized at a nonprofit by the nonprofit Aerospace Corp. and the Space Information Sharing Analysis Center. So Space ISAC, ISAC. ISACs are nonprofit membership groups organized on competing companies can share cyber threat information. So go look them up. Even though they're a nonprofit, they may be hiring and you don't know what they're hiring for. Go check them out. Let me grab this here. Collaborating to protect our space assets, 2025 Space ISAC Values of Space Summit. It looked like it's already over. Didn't know it existed. Now you do. In Colorado Springs, they had a big meeting, right? Um, Collaborative groups, resources. They look like it started in 2023. It's been going on now for 2 years. Collaborative groups. So here, the group workforce development of interest, satellite community of interest, artificial intelligence, machine learning community of interest, quantum community of interest, um, newsroom, right? Just getting started. Check it out. I'll drop this in the chat. You can choose to be a part of it or not. But this is how you stay abreast, because let me tell you what happens in these type of communities. These type of communities get organizations or agencies that come to dump their problem. People in that community end up partnering together to solve their problem. They end up creating a startup to solve that problem. They end up winning a direct award. No one has to go bid on it. They end up getting the award, and boom, a problem is solved, a startup is born, and then they start hiring. This is how this works. This is exactly how it works. A community of people that get together to try to solve a problem. They end up creating a startup. Once they create that startup, they end up maybe 10 employees. They go on to keep innovating over their product. They start hiring people on. They may or may not have a secretary. May or may not, right? They'll have someone come on and do books. The CEO is probably doing the books on QuickBooks because they don't really have no employees. Everybody's working in the company and getting a salary. They're getting paid, and then they start having to grow because now they've gotten awarded. People like them now. They gotten awarded this big contract, and that big contract for them could be something like 20 million, 30 million, 50 million. I'm just saying that's how it works, right? All right, so I've looked this up. The number of black millionaires has skyrocketed from 260,000 to 2 million, right? Although the rapid growth is good, there's still a significant gap across racial lines where around 20% of households had a wealth over a million, only to 5 black households, and I think it's actually 8 now, 8%. 8% of black households is at a million, which is good, but we can certainly use some more folks getting there. All right, the state of play for this industry, and this is back to the satellites, happens on the terrestrial side of your network for the most part. Yes, the satellites links, the radio links tend to be encrypted, and there will be encryption module on board, but that's basically it. Let's just be honest, that's not very effective. That's only protects the data inside the transmission pipeline. It doesn't protect your satellite. It doesn't protect other capabilities that exist on board, right? All right, go check it out. I dropped it in there. This is a long article. I'm not going to read it all. I'm going to keep going. Engineering cannabis, you said lots of applications and utilizing multimodal algorithms and applications in cybersecurity, drone tech, big money, believe believe no lack of jobs. Yep. All right. So I went down this rabbit hole mentally and I said to myself, what are the top 5 states with the most federal contracts? What are the top 5 states? Now, this it's another one up here that I have. Let me see. Yeah, this one. We'll start here and we'll go to, I think this is older. This is 2024, right? So in fiscal year 2023, the federal government awarded $760 billion in contracts. While DC is the home of the U.S. federal contracts, federal government federal contracts are performed all throughout the United States, approximately over 200 companies. 200 countries. The majority of the federal contracts, more than 90% in the fiscal year 2023, were awarded with a place of performance within the 50 states or the U.S. territories. If your company is a service provider, you may be particularly interested in the states that are considered lucrative for federal contracts. We put together that information and so forth. So here, I'm just going to scroll here. You can see Virginia, you can see Texas, and you can see California, and you can see some of the darker colors here with Florida, some of the darker color here with Pennsylvania, New York, Missouri, Illinois, Colorado, Arizona, Washington State, right? So when we're looking at this, I'm gonna go here. It says we took the top 5 states from fiscal year 2023 and looked at the awards over the past 5 fiscal years. While California, Texas, and Virginia have josted over the years for the number one spot, the bar chart below shows Virginia's steady rise in federal awards. Now, this is always an ongoing debate in the DMV area. Virginia gets more of the government piece of the pie than what Maryland does. And even more than what DC does. I'm trying to tell you there is no way in the world that you can live in those areas, especially in the DMV, and not make 100,000. And I'm being nice at 100. It should be more like 150 to 170 just to really live. Like that's just what it is. To get a job in those areas paying that is just like okay, cool. But in particular, Virginia, right? Federal contract awards by state and so forth. So I'm going to try to blow that up a little bit more. That looks horrendous. There we go. All right, that's a little better. All right, Virginia. Um, for small business awards here. But total federal contract awards right here, 106 billion. Texas, California, I don't know who others supposed to be but I'm assuming a combination. Maryland, the District of Columbia, Florida, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Arizona. I am telling you, eventually Alabama will be on this map. I'm not sure if they're gonna come in the top though, but they will be on this map in the top 10 at some point. Then you got Massachusetts, New York, Missouri, Alabama down here at the bottom right here, or on the next page, and so forth. So let me go back over here. So, what does that say to you? If you're looking at, and this is how I always have looked at it, if you are looking to retire with your clearance and you say, I'm going to retire at 40, I'm going to retire at 50, but I'm still going to do work on the side, and I want to still be in the clear area to do work. Maybe you work at a data center, maybe you work at a help desk or something of that nature, right? These are the states that you should probably be looking in: Virginia, Texas, California, Alabama, at that, Maryland, DC, Florida. Now, when you look at these states, what benefits do they have? Can you get away with no state taxes? What is the cost of living in those states? Where can I live in those states and not be too far from the city, but be just enough away from the city where I don't have to have that pressure, right? The question is, what are you going to do? You out there, what are you going to do? Hmm? What are you going to do? Where are you going to choose to live, right? Have my pointer today. What are you going to do? Right? The other part of this is not what are you going to do? What kind of skill sets are you going to have that's going to last you that long? Of course, you're going to have to add to them. Let's be clear. I'm not telling you that all you need to do is just be a Linux administrator your whole entire life, which you probably could do. But I'm saying you're going to have to add some skill sets. What are you going to do? Right? You say Tennessee? Let's look. It's down here. It's got about 11 million, right? So now let's flip this table. It says small percentage that are the small businesses, right? Small business awards, right? So here, let's flip it because let me go on the first page here. All right. So in this case, Virginia, Maryland, California, DC, Florida. And it says percentage of business awards. Let's go here. Montana. But look at the amount of total federal contracts. You ain't doing nothing in that area. I don't know what's in Montana. I'm assuming a data center. But look how these areas filter out. Louisiana, West Virginia, Alaska. Look how they filter out. Let's go with the least. Delaware, you ain't doing nothing. Wyoming, you ain't doing nothing. Arkansas, New Hampshire, you ain't doing nothing. So don't move there because your clearance don't mean nothing to nobody. Idaho, you ain't doing nothing. You should only be looking at 10 and up. So your South Carolina up, like right here, yeah. When you get that about 10, that's where you need to at least start there. Anything else in single digits, forget about it. Forget about it. 10 and up. Colorado. Colorado was on the list. Let me go sort it back out. Colorado around 14. Utah? Utah may have some money. Right here, Utah. It ain't 10 and up. I ain't doing it. North Carolina's at 6. You said you're working on agent SOC analyst bill with Python and any LLM of choice, but currently doing vulnerability management analysis. Yep. Yeah, I just started my class. Yeah, they do. but they also have high performance computing clusters and quantum computing. That's where they make their money. All right, so that's an old one, right? So let's go to this one. This one came out in February. Texas leading at 71.6 billion in defense spending, Virginia at 68.5 billion, California at 60.8, Florida at 32.2, and Maryland at 27.8. Pick your poison, right? I'm gonna be like Toxic Barbie. Ken should have never fucked with me. Texas, Virginia, California, Florida, Maryland. Those are the states that are gonna offer you jobs to move around in. I'm just telling you. I lived in Texas. I lived in Virginia. I lived in Florida. I have not lived in California or Maryland for in terms of work. But if you're in Virginia, there's no need for you to go to Maryland for work. It's just no need for you to go to Maryland for work. For what? Look, Better Business Bureau. There's 189 government contractors in Tysons, Virginia. 189. So you can come to the Better Business Bureau and look up government contractors near Tyson's, and then boom, there you go. You could do the same thing for another city in that area. You always want to know how you find jobs? Why can't you just use the Better Business Bureau? Right? Who are they? Mantech, ASM, Strategic Alliance Business Group, Dual C's, Airbus, ISN Company, DTS, GovTribe, M9 Solutions, Northeast Constructions, Key Concepts Knowledge Base, Econometeria. I don't know, never heard of them. Metrica. Larson Group, I heard of them. Cornelius Group, heard of them. Red Bee, have it. Advanced Concepts and Technologies International, Thomas Solutions. Again, the list goes on. And you can always cross reference, go check out who owns it. Are they on, or do they have a website, so forth and so on. They try to give some information here: financial consultants, business law attorneys, government contractors, business research services, Pelican residents. They do real estate, rentals, general contractor, property management, marketing, technology services, and web design. Again, there you go. The cheat sheet. All right. Let's go back here. Yep. These locations. Then go to the Better Business Bureau and look up Texas. MB study, you just said I just landed a job with one of them in Texas. Exactly. 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 Yep. I talked about Washington State. Washington State was on the other map right here. Right here. There you go for Washington State. The heat map of federal contracts award by place and place. A heat map of federal contract awards by place of performance in state. This is from 2023. This is the heat map here. Hawaii, Alaska. But these are your spots. You're not gonna really do nothing up in this area up here. Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York. You'll probably be in Connecticut more than you will New York. It's I guess you can. I don't know what to call myself. You can say I'm an infrastructure system architect, or infrastructure architect, or system architect. I kind of do both. And you can get an overseas role. You excited? Good. All right, got that one. Got that one. All right. The U.S. Air Force selects Blue Origin and Anduril for rocket cargo delivery project report. Each company received at least $1 million for point-to-point rocket transportation. So they got $1 million. They're working with the Air Force. Blurry. The U.S. Air Force asked for two companies to explore how to deliver rocket-flown cargo to a point in the world within 1 hour. Blue Origin, which launches brief orbital missions for astronauts and cargo, is its New Shepard rocket and is expanding into deep space launches and so forth. Blue Origin received 1.3 million. Andrew received $1 million in August under an AFRL program. In a statement published, the program is called Rocket Experimentation Global Agile Logistics, and news about the awards first broke in August in outlets such as TechCrunch. NASA wants the new spacecraft to reach orbits. U.S. Space Force cancels plan for Starship landing pads. Blue Origin to fly AI powered space surveillance sensor on its first flight. Blue Ring spacecraft. Got to keep up with what's going on, folks. You want to know where we're at? This is where we're at. Next up, Monument based software company lands a $489 million contract. A Monument based software company has secured 489 million federal contract from the U.S. General, basically services GSA. Tech 7 launched in 2015 will assist the Departments of Defense, Commerce, and Homeland implementing new technologies. The company awarded a grant with a press release in August. The federal government is slowly adopting and implementing new technology. A 2025 year report for the Government Accountability Office faulted software overhauls years long. All right. So under the contract, Tech 7 will use AI machine learning tools to evaluate government needs, examine existing software, then test and tailor those products to government needs. So go look up who? Tech 7. Tech 7 will be the next place for you to go look up. So about 50 people work at Tech 7. And Hutch said the new contract will significantly increase staffing needs, potentially 25 new hires within a year. So let's go look at Tech 7. All right, here's their homepage, careers, Colorado Springs. Let me bring that back down. Colorado Springs is look like that where they're operating out of. They're looking for an agile product owner. They're looking for a DevOps person, development operations engineer. That's interesting. So they look like they're based out of Colorado Springs. Don't be surprised if they try to open up a location in Alabama. Don't be surprised. So now you heard Tech 7, you can go to apply. AFRL, upstate New York, directs 747 million in work to Beaver Creek contractor. UES research firm lands a $741 million Air Force contract and task orders reward. UES. UES. Mm. And here's another one that they landed. UES lands a 499 million Air Force deal for electromagnetic survivability research. UES. Go check them out. The Outer Beaver Creek. Beaver Creek, U.S. was founded in 1973. I guess Eclipse Technologies bought UES for undisclosed sum in 2023. And in November, Aero Environment announced a $4.1 billion agreement to acquire Blue Halo. Go check out UES. You want to know where that's at. All right. Next up, SpaceX launches this 300 Starlight satellite internet mission, and it's a video that goes with it. It was SpaceX's 115 Falcon 9 launch of 2025. Right, there's a video. SpaceX just lofted Starlink broadband satellites to orbit. They did that out of California, but again, launching satellites and then keeping those satellites safe and also making sure they're not compromised. That is another industry, another thing. I keep telling y'all, space, we're worried about what's happening here. They're building in space. Just worried about the wrong thing. DOE launches an initiative to accelerate development of large transmission and generation projects. The Speed of Power initiative is seen as central in helping the U.S. win the AI race. The Speed of Power initiative aims to address concerns that the current pace of infrastructure development is insufficient to meet the surging electricity demand. In the coming years, Americans will require more energy to power their homes. And that means they're going to also start looking and putting money into research and development into alternative energy as well, to alternative ways to power homes. Don't be surprised. And President Trump's leadership, the Department of Energy is ensuring we can meet this growing demand while fueling AI and data center development with affordable, reliable, and secure sources. Listen, going to just go get your, and this I think this other thing too that kind of chaps my hide. Yes, you can go and get your HVAC and your electrical, and get your electrician certs. But the people that are probably going to get paid from those are not the people actually doing the work. It's the people actually doing the research of those things. Like, how can we come up with alternative energy, and how can we scale this out, and start so building, being the builder versus being the one that's doing the work. Um, just what I see. The initiative will see DOE issue a request for information focused on near term investment opportunities, project readiness, low growth expectation, and infrastructure constraints. The department has stated that it is seeking input from utilities, grid operators, and large power consumers on how federal resources can be utilized to expand generation and transmission capacity more frequently. The DoD has tied its initiative to recent executive orders that prioritize energy security and grid reliability. Energy security and grid reliability. I'm not gonna say where you're gonna learn grid reliability and energy security at. I'm not gonna say nothing. You do it. You figure it out. The Speed to Power initiative aims to identify grid projects that can be advanced quickly to support the expansion of manufacturing, industrial growth, and increasing the concentration of large scale data centers nationwide. Let's take a look. Electric motors and motor control circuits, chilled water systems, electrical ladder drawings, schematics, and diagrams. Insurance, safety, and compliance and mining in the mining industry, electrical troubleshooting and preventive maintenance, electrical troubleshooting and preventive maintenance, two, one and two. Generators and emergency power, high voltage electrical safety for power grid, that's for power GTD. I'm just looking to see what their cost is and the time. I think I'll bring an electrician on next time. Yeah, I think I'll bring an electrician on the next time. Hey, Christian, how you doing? You finally caught me live. Thank you, and thank you for watching. I'm gonna bring an electrician on. We're gonna talk about some timeline, realistic timelines. All right, so we got DOE. You see what they're looking for. Uh, the 15 schemes are likely to include several large gas generation projects. In the spring, they will join the batch review of 55 GW of legacy projects, so forth. Right. All right. Next up, the Energy Department awards BWX a $1.5 billion contract. A $1.5 billion contract. $1.5 billion contract. BWX. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're gonna go look up BWX. Where are they located? What else you gonna find out about them? How long they been in existence? What else you gonna find out about them? What job opportunities they have? What else you gonna find out about them? You need to go look up their history of revenue. What else you gonna find out about them? Who they partnered with? BWX probably do work with other people, but who else are they partnering with? Where are they located? Do they have overseas opportunities? How long is this opportunity for? Let's get into it. BWST Enrichment Operations was awarded a National Nuclear Security Administration contract for work on domestic uranium enrichment centrifuge experiment pilot plant. Where in the world would you understand to get that information? Hmm? Where would you go? Let's go. BWXT. Excellent in nuclear innovation delivered. Yep. There we go. I don't want to accept. No, just close. Thank you. Who we are? 165 years. What sectors? Defense and space, nuclear engine, nuclear fuel, nuclear medicine, complex site ops, investment. They're on the stock market. They pay dividends. 174. Uh, Here we go. Is it under here? Yeah, dividends. 25 cents. Just go to careers. Look at benefits too. So I talked about this company before. 980 paid vacation 401k plan with match retirement plan, qualified tuition assistance, professional leadership development programs, training programs, all the benefits there, so forth and so on. Our team, our career locations. All right, Barberton, Ohio, Irvin, Euclid, Jonesboro, Lynchburg, Mount Vernon, and in Canada, Cambridge, Oakville, Ottawa, Peterborough. So you could get something overseas. Search all current opportunities. Students, skilled trades, professionals. All right, so I just let it search anything. I see senior project manager, IT SAP functional analyst, financial planning, a director of engineering, depends on what kind of engineering they're looking at here. Senior automation specialist. Let me see how they break down. Let's go. Let's do cloud. Just curious if anything comes back. So you got a senior network engineer, hybrid, and a network engineer. Can we do? Can we do DevOps? All right. So I guess they may be pulling that together for this. I think this is probably more of the DevOps role. What happens when I put in Windows? IT system administrator, IT applications administrator. So let's put in Linux. So they bought it on the IT administrator. Can I put in the word agile? Probably the project manager here. How about AI? Mm, don't see nothing that's pulling that looks like a AI something something. Maybe a systems engineer team lead. Check out the YouTube video of our innovative product. Go on YouTube. Yeah, I'm not seeing nothing that screams AI here. Right? So these companies like this right here, I also think you need to probably know somebody to navigate their website. I'm just saying, you probably need to know somebody in the company, but they have a technology career fair though. See top jobs, Idaho security clearance jobs, forbidden. I wonder who they also, if they doing this, they probably partnering with somebody like some people that work on these naval ships and so forth, the Air Force. So I'll be looking around who else they partner with. Let me see. Right. That's the 1.5 billion. So here's another one. NNSA. See. And APTIM. Yep. I'll be looking at them. APTIM. Here. This one right here, BWXT led team award of $45 billion environmental award. They also have one for $296 million. Let's see, how far back does this one go? This is 2024 and it's for 10 years. So they got plenty of money. Plenty of money. $8,700 employees. 20 major cities, based out of Lynchburg, publicly traded. You see, said on average the annual salary is around 114,000. All right. So some people have reported 37 salaries reported between 93 to 140, 141. So at least you know a range. All right. So that's BWXT. You see the one they got for 45 billion. You see the other one they got for was it one, what was this one? 1.5 billion. All right. 17 billions for phone to satellite direct connection. SpaceX acquires Echo Star frequencies to bypass all cell tower infrastructure. SpaceX ambitious $17 billion acquisition of Echo Star frequency licenses marks a pivotal step in its quest to revolutionize global telecommunications by enabling direct satellite to smartphone connectivity. They got acquired by for 17 billion. So now you have to go and look and ask yourself, well, how are they doing it? So here's how they're doing it. SpaceX acquisition of S-band and MSS frequency bands is a pivotal moment for Starlink to its satellite internet service. These frequency bands are essential for providing direct connectivity between smartphone satellites and in orbit. And that's literally what a lot of people do, especially if we're talking about digital signal processing. You'll be employed, you may get burned out. But again, it depends on what side of the map you're on, right? You could be building the infrastructure for that, or you could be actually doing the digital signal processing. It depends. And this is someone who worked around digital signal processors on the engineering side with Linux boxes and so forth. So tell you that from my own experience. Trace systems, they sound familiar. I don't know about them. Where they're located. All right, trace systems, who we are, what we do, who we are, about us. Digital transformation, assured communications, distributed edge architecture, same thing I talk about. Seems like they're doing something at the edge, pushing cloud, pushing something on it. They're doing DoD and uh, the intelligence community. In there in Virginia, they're working with your buddies. Right there in Chantilly, that's who they're working with. What we do: virtualization, cloud, information technology, communications, and cybersecurity. Uh, M Drive, they have a solution, virtual mission enclaves in a multi-tenant environment. Modular, just dynamically reconfigurable, integrated virtual environment. The end with our M Drive customers can join an enterprise mission enclave on a or create a episodic ME within hours. Still at sea moving M Drive, working on ATO network, so forth and so on. Okay. Satcom, yep. Got a help desk job in Portsmouth. I guess Portsmouth is what they're based out of, maybe. But it's just where they got some stuff at. Got some stuff in Tampa. Got another help desk job in Tampa. Mm. So these are the Linux jobs that I'm pulling back. Or something in here has Linux in it. And it's 120 of them. I type in cloud. South Carolina. About 200 there. I haven't encountered vectorized database people asking for those, but I know some that are using it. Benefits. Mm, yeah, the match. disability, flexible spending account. They don't have a HSA, so I will look and see what that looks like um, in terms of cost of benefits. All right, Charles Schwab. Anytime you see things like this right here, Charles Schwab is to add 16 branches, a hire 400 client grow as growth surge. That means people are making money. And that doesn't mean people are making money and we're talking about 55,000. That's not what I'm talking about. They're probably seeing a whole lot more people making money and they're probably having net worths of 1 million or 2 million or so. And, or leading into 1 million or 2 million. So that's what they're seeing. In the states that we talk about, Florida, California, Texas, and what did we say happens in those states? What we talk about government contracted in those states. So government contracting in those states also fuel the economy in those states as well too, because people get jobs, people start buying houses, people start buying real estate, they start acquiring assets, they started building their net worth, they start bringing in more people as well too, right? So just keep that in mind. All right. 60 million orbital platform. The U.S. Space Force and Gravitics develop an aircraft carrier that launches satellites directly from Earth's orbit. No longer are we going to be sitting on Earth. We're just going to put them out there, probably build them out there, and then launch them from out there. Well, you just rotate around the Earth. That's what they're going to do. All right, let's read it. The U.S. is developing a revolutionary orbital aircraft with gravitas to enhance satellite deployment. So I will go look them up. Do the same thing I've been doing. Drop it in the chat when you look it up. How many employees do they have? Where are they located? Who are they partner? Who also have they partnered with? What other contracts have they won? What other people had a? How many employees do they have? What kind of current job do they openings do they have? Drop that in the chat. The project aims to protect sensitive electronics from space harsh conditions, bolstering national security. Public-private partnerships are crucial for space superiority and fostering technological advancements. This endeavor marks a new era of space exploration. All right. The vision behind the aircraft. Let me see if we can. Let's see if we can get the a visual of the aircraft. We get us out, Carol, on the meetup. The rest is to complete the orbital. All right, so images. They got that one, and they have this one. So let's go here. Build space infrastructure for commercial space station. They need networking and the whole kind of all kind of stuff. Hmm. Case by case level and base salary will be determined on a case by case basis. New member. Thank you, Christian, for becoming a new member. Build modern space stations. I know I don't have no time. But you can watch. Now this is where the welders come in. Hmm. I can guarantee you what we don't, what we're not gonna see. All right, go check them out, and this gives more about the vision and so forth. All right, next one up. Marine Corps reaches a deal with Palantir for the Maven Smart System. The technology will enhance intelligence, targeting, and decision making for joint fires integration, according to Marine Corps Commander General Eric Smith. They have partnered with Palantir. The contract was finalized August the 15th in partnership with the Pentagon's Chief Digital and AI Office, Silicon Valley headquartered Defense Innovation Unit, and Army Research. The announcement did not disclose the dollar value. Last year, inked a deal with 480 million for a 5-year IDIQ contract with Palantir for MSS Technologies. A few months ago, DoD revealed this decision to increase the contract ceiling to 1.3 billion through 2029. Right? New military SATCOM services program to focus on maneuverable small geo satellites. U.S. Space Force this week issued a new request for information for maneuverable geosynchronous orbit commercial satellite based services program. I'm gonna keep asking this question. Where are you gonna find? Where are you gonna learn this at? That'd be my big thing. Where do you go learn this at? What do you go learn this at? Now you know they got a request out there for it. Where are you gonna go learn this at? Are you gonna learn this at the community college? Let's go look. Let's go see if anybody at any community college is teaching about satellites. We have Georgia Military College. Maybe. Let's see. I'm reading through. They may be just talking about satellite campuses. All right, here we go. CCU launches a South Carolina's first space satellite program. CCU. All right, so you got one there. See what else comes up. So AFRL back in 2021, because I kept saying, I've been saying this for years. Where are you guys going to learn about satellites at? Because you most definitely are not in the mix in a running for it. Selects 10 universities for its prestigious satellite program. Kirtland Air Force Base, AFRL. So they picked the University of Minnesota, Texas A&M University, Michigan Technological University. They partnered with St. Louis, University of Alaska Fairbanks, University of Boulder, University of Buffalo, Michigan University, Western Michigan University of Maryland, Auburn University, University of Texas, Austin, Rutgers University, and Purdue. No HBCUs, unless they have a partnership with some of these schools. If they have a partnership, you can go and grab that. It says the objective of the University Nano Satellite Program is to promote and sustain university research and education focused on small satellites and related technologies. It cannot keep relying on people that are going and have to wait for you to graduate to go work at a company to learn about satellites. That's got to start way back in high school. That's got to start way back in the eighth grade. And that's what needs to be pushed down. They're gonna have satellite discovery and training way before they get to high school, so that they can start having curriculum and programs sprinkled throughout. Because if not, you're gonna wait till people become adults to try to teach them about digital signal processing and satellites. Way too far behind. Way too far behind. It's a 2-year program. Let's go back. Heard on campus combining machine learning and satellite. Carson is therefore developing tools and methods to use machine learning to extract information from satellite images. Right? This is Eberly College of Science. Never heard of them. That's the same one. But you can see that it just gets really lack when we're talking about this. All right. Again, maneuverable small geo satellites. What do you start learning in that? When do you pick that up? All right. Agencies told to remove government jargon from federal titles. So OPM says making job titles align with the private sector terminology should help attract broader pool of applicants. In an effort to appeal more to the younger crowd, potential applicants, the OPM is telling agencies to update their federal job titles to cut jargon that make them clear. OPM last week tasked federal HR agencies or offices with conducting an audit of all the current job titles and descriptions and making revisions where necessary. These reforms are essential to building a federal workforce that is capable, mission driven, and reflective of American values. By modernizing job titles, embracing skills based hiring, we can ensure that we're attracting and selecting best candidates to serve the American people. By updating job titles to make them descriptive, organizational, and functional in nature, OPM said the goal is to provide clarity to federal job seekers and more accurately convey the expectations of the job. OPM said the changes come as part of Trump administration merit hiring plan, which attempts to overhaul and streamline the federal recruitment process. Good luck. We already know what that means. We know what that code for, but whatever. It's a Boulder. I'm in Colorado Springs, so I have to take a look at that school while I'm here. Yep. Go check it out. They may have a partnership. They may have like a certificate program that you can do. I wouldn't be surprised. I wonder if it's online. Yep. Satellite Systems Design Certificate. The certificate recognizes student accomplishments at the graduate level in successfully completing a specialized program in satellite design. It blends courses from SMED Department of Aerospace, Electrical Computer, and Energy Engineering and Engineering Management departments. It's a hands-on degree and non-degree right here, right? If you're a non-degree seeking student. Spacecraft design, graduate projects. Yeah, they just got spacecraft design. Let me see. Astrodynamics and Satellite Navigation System Certificate. University of Versus Satellite System Design. This is what I'm talking about right here. What do you learn this at? You got you build out two ground stations, right? And underneath that is those that satellite is linked up to some type of Linux box, and they communicate up with us to this satellite. What do you guys learn that at? This is what I'm talking about. All right. Microsoft increases its Wisconsin data center investment to $7.3 billion. Says Fairwater site will be the world's most powerful data center. It's in Wisconsin. 7.3 billion into a data center. Microsoft said that its final phases of building a 3.3 billion Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin data center. At the same time, it said that it plans to spend an additional 4 billion over the next 3 years on the second data center, a similar size and scale in that state. Microsoft said that it's multiple identical data centers under construction around the country. The facility set to launch shortly is known as Fairwater, and with Microsoft claiming that it would be the world's most powerful data center. The company did not share the benchmarks and so forth, but you get the idea, you get the gist. Don't deny that. Don't doubt that quantum computing will be involved in those data centers. All right. Oracle eyes a $20 billion AI competing deal with Meta, sources say. This came out September the 19th, 18 hours ago. Oracle is in talks with Meta for a multi-year cloud computing deal worth 20 billion, underscoring the social media giant's drive to secure faster access. As you all know, Oracle also inked a deal with OpenAI. If they did a deal with OpenAI, Meta want to be in the same boat. They want a piece of the pie too. They're competing with each other. So where would you be going to look for a job at right now? Even though they've had layoffs, I'll be looking at AI and I will be looking at Oracle. Just saying. We talked about the 16 branches. All right. $700 million data center is coming to Temple. Temple City Council plans for Rowan Digital Infrastructure to build a new hyperscale data center campus in the city. Temple, Texas, is the area. It's a $700 million data center in Temple, Texas, and go look at the Temple Economic Development Plan, and they announced it. The facility will be reportedly located on more than 700 acres along Bob Road in South Temple, and is scheduled to break ground at the end of 25. Completion is for the project is of 2026. So if you're looking in Temple area, I would be looking at to employ people. Temple EDC said the first phase of the campus will staff 30 employees with a plan to for the second phase to employ 10 employees, and it's going to bring in 700. It's going to create 700 jobs in that area. So those 700 people need somewhere to eat, sleep, have activities, soccer, food, game, basketball, football, volleyball, tennis, pickle. They're also going to need somewhere to have entertainment as well. So I would be looking at buying uh, real estate or houses in that area, or building houses in the area. Just FYI on that. All right. Next up, University of Florida moves forward with the $30 million AI center in South Hillsborough County. So they're building an AI center in South Hillsborough. Those that are in Florida, in the Tampa area, St. Pete, Lakeland, anything around that area. They're building an AI center in University of Florida. Tampa startup wins a $1.25 million Air Force contract for data software. Startup aims to address data structure and Gen AI challenges across national security levels. Space Force Cell explores reorg to push commercial data to the military. What does that mean? Your data, your YouTube data, your Instagram data, your TikToks, and so forth, are now going to be pushed up to the military's data, and also searched. The reorganization of the JCO will involve two elements: setting up processes for JCO to provide commercial space, monitoring data directly to operators, and establishing an exact acquisition path for that data. And so now people are going to start making actual applications around the data that they find and what they're going to use that data for. Right. So again, they're coming for you. All right. My last for hoorah, hoorah, where I'm at. Ooh, perfect time. A millennial who once made 300,000 secretly juggling jobs tells us why he scaled back. Want me to tell you why he scaled back? I didn't even read the article. I tell you, tired. A software engineer made 300,000 working two remote jobs, but after one job lost and returned to office push, he decided to stop chasing overemployment. He's now focused on a side hustle, savings, and networking to boost his financial security. The two full-time remote jobs John gave John the trifecta he desired: a high income, job security, and work from home flexibility. But over the past year, a job loss and a return to office push and looming childcare responsibilities have him rethinking how to preserve a lifestyle he built. After joining the ranks of overemployed in 2021, millennial software engineer based in California earned as much as 300,000 annually, working multiple full-time remote roles. The extra income boosted his earnings to over 300,000 a year, allowing him to grow his savings and splurge on things like roughly $9,000 honeymoon with his wife. About a year ago, two of his roles in full-time contract position ended when the company folded, leaving him with just a W-2 job, which pays 150 annually. More recently, John employer began encouraging employees to work from office a few times a month as an informal policy, but one John felt he should respect to stay in good standings with his boss, and perhaps the biggest development he and his wife were expecting their first child. A life change will bring its own responsibilities. In response to the developments, John says he's trying to build a different kind of lifestyle, one that still retains much of his income, job security, and flexibility. New approach rests on three pillars: side hustle, aggressive saving, and leaning on his professional network. I never I never got back to full-time employment, he told Business Insider. But I'm fortunate to say I'm not really worried about finances at this moment. Business Insider said has verified his identity, employment, and income, but agreed to use a pseudonym. John is among Americans who have recently secretly juggled multiple remote jobs to boost their income. You don't want to go back to work. You're tired. All right. Last but not least, a software engineer says the most important survival skill in tech isn't just coding, it's communication. She is correct. Namaswe, and I'm gonna screw up her last name. Shandarana Rana, yes, Shadarana, a senior engineer at Game Changer, always focused on working in tech. She shared four lessons she learned to level up. Let's get to the four. We'll cut through the meat and potatoes and see what the four are. I'm looking. Okay, I missed number one then somewhere here. They went straight into number two. What was number one? I don't know. I guess communication was it. I don't know. We're gonna stick with communication was number one. Okay, foster team success over individual achievement. Yes, I agree. Close communication gaps across technical and non-technical teams. I agree. Manage competing priorities without burning out. I agree. And overcome the imposter syndrome as a woman in software engineering. Just give it your best. Be you. Be who you are. It's gonna just know there's gonna always be somebody out there that's better than you, but that doesn't mean that they're better than you in every way. And just know that you are doing your best, and come up and you can learn something from everybody. That's one thing you got to remember. All right, cool. Let me see what it is. Exhausted, burnout, Oracle. Cool. I think I got everything in here. I got I got 1 minute left before I get out of here. Remember, always like we always say, always be closing, but always be studying. Always make sure you put your best foot forward. Forget what the naysayers are saying. Always remember one thing too: bet on yourself. If you find a team that you can bet with you, take them with you. The people that want to go. People that don't want to go, they don't go. Everybody can't go. Everybody can't shine. It's just what it is. And last but not least, be kind to yourself. One of the big things that I get told this all the time that I'm not kind to myself, which I think I am, but I am my own worst critic, as we all are. But at the same token, I'm always looking to advance my career and be the best that I can be. And so, some of you sometimes your best may not be good enough for someone else, and it's okay. You just have to recognize that and pivot, right? Same way with the other person on the other end. Recognize and pivot. But don't let your ego be your downfall. Humble yourself. Sometimes you just gotta go in and kick ass. But we'll talk about that offline. All right, y'all be safe.